Hello, we are continuing to explore Moscow, and today we are in Dorogomilova, on the banks of the Moskva River. Behind me, you can see the Ukraina Hotel, one of the Moscow's 7 famous skyscrapers. On September 7, 1947, construction works began on 8 Moscow skyscrapers. They were to rise in the most prominent spots of the city in close proximity to the Garden Ring. What's interesting is that each of the buildings was designed by a different team. The team in charge of this high rise at the bend of the Moskva River was led by Arkady Mordvinov. To overcome the many challenges posed by the fast soils of the river bank, they had to come up with complex engineering solutions. And then there is the size of the building. At the time, there was very little construction experience in the Soviet Union, and only a handful of architects, including Vyacheslav Oltazhevsky, had any knowledge of skyscraper construction from their trips to the United States before the war. It is also worth mentioning that the hotel's design was finalized during its construction. The team originally had only 1 year to produce the design, so naturally, it was impossible to factor in every little detail. What sets this hotel apart from the other skyscrapers is its 2 wings with apartments, which were designed by the architect Vasily Georgievich Kalish. The central part, however, is the work of Arkady Mordvinov and Vyacheslav Oltazhevsky. The elements of the complex complement one another ideally. While the central part consists mainly of hotel rooms, with kitchens and service rooms overlooking the courtyard, the wings are reserved for 2-bedroom and 4-bedroom apartments. What was the point of those large 4-bedroom apartments? Well, back then they were communal apartments. Today it's hard to imagine something like that in high-end building in a high-end district. But the fact remains, they were communal apartments with per-room occupancy. In the middle of the courtyard stands an unusual object made from pink granite. It's both a fountain and an opening of the ventilation system. Right underneath me, underneath this courtyard, there are air-filled chambers that ensure air circulation inside the hotel. The air duct is camouflaged by an ornate fountain, with water shooting upwards at the top and flowing down the sides into a basin. The sheer scale of the hotel, which opened its doors in 1957, is mind-boggling. Once inside, one can clearly see that this indeed used to be the biggest hotel in Europe. Interestingly enough, the interior we see today is almost exactly the same as it was in 1957, except for the modern polymer panels that replace the artificial marble made of stucco. This plafond is called the Labor Day in the Ukrainian SSR. We can see people in national clothing, steel workers, miners, people carrying flags, and the Soviet state emblem. It's almost as if they are looking down at us from the balcony. The plafond was designed just as the hotel received its final name, Ukraina, to mark the 300-year anniversary for the 1654 reunification of Russia and Ukraine that was celebrated during the hotel's construction. We are now in the presidential suite of the Ukraine Hotel. These halls were originally used as daytime sitting rooms, as they were called in the 1950s lingo. But during the hotel's remodeling, the then public areas were refashioned into these spacious suites, each equipped with a kitchen and several bedrooms. Today, they are the most luxurious rooms available to the hotel's guests. And again, we can see how the structure of the high-rise is reflected in the hotel's interior. These square columns are the main structural components of the building, parts of the welded steel frame. And of course, the view from the window is impressive, to say the least. We can see the hotel's courtyard, the apartment blocks, and the hotel itself, its central part and its side wings topped with decorative turrets. These decorative turrets set the tone for the hotel's silhouette. After being remodeled, Ukraine was rebranded as the Radisson and became the most luxurious accommodation on offer to Moscow visitors. Among others, Xi Jinping of China stayed here when he came to the city on an official visit. The layout of the building is well thought out. All utility lines are encased in special tunnels, which is why there is no bothersome noise inside the hotel. Today, the hallways of the hotel feature a collection of paintings created by Soviet artists. Some of them appeared here back in the 1950s, when the hotel just opened, and some were acquired during the hotel's renovation. They include both landscapes and real-life scenes. And if you are interested in Soviet social realism, you will most certainly appreciate these pieces of art. The highlight of the hotel, as the architects designed it, is the restaurant on the top floor surrounded by an observation deck. Complex sculptural decorations made of concrete were installed on each of the high-rises. And on this observation deck, which was at one time kept open, but is now closed off by panoramic windows, we see a composition that is very characteristic of that era. We see a star, the heraldic symbol of the Soviet Union, encircled by a laurel wreath, a reminder of the Great Patriotic War. The entire post-war Stalinist architecture is the architecture of the victory. The same laurel wreath-wrapped star sits atop the hotel's spire. Four decorative turrets sit at each corner of the deck. There, too, we can notice the presence of the classical architecture, such as the columns with Doric order capitals and the massive entablature. The top of the turrets is decorated with a composition of leaves and ears of wheat. It's hard to believe that these concrete decorations, so typical of the Stalinist era, are incredibly heavy. This particular one weighs around 23-24 tons. The observation deck located just beneath the hotel spire also offers a view of Moscow, of the Moskva River and its embankment. From here, you can also see all the sisters of this hotel. The original idea was to build 8 skyscrapers as a gift to Moscow on its 800th anniversary. The 8th building was supposed to be constructed over there behind the Kremlin in Zaradye. It would have been the same size as the largest one today, the main building of the Moscow State University, which can also be seen from the observation deck of the Ukraine Hotel. Since the hotel was named after one of the Soviet republics, several years after its construction, a monument to Taras Shevchenko was installed in the mini park in front of the hotel. This gave rise to a new point on the map of Moscow, the Taras Shevchenko embankment. And this is the end of our tour of the Ukraina Hotel, one of the Moscow's 7 skyscrapers. Let's keep exploring Moscow together.